Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alana, for those of you who don't know. For my regular subscribers, I love y'all, I miss y'all. I promise I will be back uploading content regularly. Just bear with me. Those who are meant to stay, stay. Those who are meant to leave, I bless you, I love you, I appreciate the time we spend together. Now let's jump into this message really quickly, okay? And the thumbnail, or I guess the footage, whatever you call this, is like a blurry church for a reason. Spirit just laid on me the question to ask: when was the last time you stepped out on faith and did something? When was the last time you stepped out on faith and acted on what you felt was something that you truly desired to do, or someplace you desired to go, or maybe starting your own business, your own channel? When was the last time you stepped out on faith? The times right now we're living in, the Most High God, your spirit team, is saying it's time to step out on faith, okay? And I'm going to share a story with you guys of a time where I had to really step out on faith, and I couldn't see. You see how this it's blurry here. I couldn't see what was ahead, but however, in my heart, I knew that what I was doing was the right thing, that it was going to put me in a better position in life. So for those of you who know me, I grew up in New York. I'm from the Bronx originally, right? And I had decided to relocate. After living there all my life, I decided that I was going to move down south, actually to Charlotte, North Carolina. And at that time, I was working part-time, but I was getting like full-time hours in New York. So I was making, pretty all right money. I also had a housing subsidy for my apartment. I had Section 8. So Section 8 paid a portion of my rent, and I paid the rest. I paid more than they did, but nevertheless, I had help, right? So I decided, hey, I'm going to pack up my things. Actually, I didn't even pack a lot of things. I sold all of my furniture, gave my furniture away, gave away stuff. And the only thing I really took was like clothes, pictures, stuff like that. Let me get to the point. So I applied to transfer down to a position in Charlotte, which was paying less, okay? It was also part-time, but it wasn't given nowhere near what I was making, right? I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had no car, anything like that. I stepped out on faith, and I did have some help along the way. I moved from New York to North Carolina with $2,500 in my pocket, okay? $2,500 in my pocket. I had a plan, though. I knew what I desired. I knew what I was going for. Now, mind you, everybody thought I was crazy because I left the Section 8 apartment. I left the Section 8, the subsidy. I left everything behind, and I just left. I stepped out on faith because I knew there was more for me. After living in Charlotte for barely a year, I was there about a year. However, I was there for 6 months. I started cleaning up my credit. My credit score was like a 530, I want to say, when I moved. Cleaned up my credit a bit, got my credit score up like 120 points. I think I was like at a 650, 656, something like that. Now, at this time, I ended up picking up a second part-time job. And I'm going to show you how good God is. When you step out on faith, I'm telling you, when you really feel something strongly in your spirit, go for it. Even if you're afraid, that's normal. Everything was new to me, Everything was new to me. I used to get lost every single day, okay? So back to my credit and stuff like that. So I was working 2 part-time jobs, and I wanted to buy a house because what I realized was I was renting a house, and the amount that I was paying my landlord, which was paying my landlord's mortgage, I'm like, I can get my own mortgage for that, right? So I, begin the process. I get I get a real estate broker and stuff like that. And I didn't even tell him like fully my situation. I just was like, I want a house. This is, how much I'm willing to spend or whatever the case may be. I don't even think I gave him a budget. I just knew personally I couldn't go over a certain amount. Well, I didn't want to go over a certain amount. So, 2 part-time jobs, okay? 2 part-time jobs. I'm looking for a house. I don't have a full-time job. And my credit is still it's okay. I actually had a collection on my credit report. So I find a brand new home, brand new house in a beautiful neighborhood with the schools were some of the top schools in that state, okay? Some of the top schools in the state. I found a brand new house in that community, and it was within my budget, right? So the broker tells me, go to the bank, get my pre-approval, all of those lovely things. I go to my bank. I apply for a mortgage with the 2 part-time jobs. They deny me, you need a full-time job. I don't tell him this. I do not tell my broker that I got denied for the loan. I'm just like, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody has to say. I'm getting a house. I'm supposed to have a house. I feel it in my heart and my soul. I'm getting me a house. And so I didn't tell him. And so I ended up going through a different bank, which was the builders of the house had their finances, their bank that they like to deal with. So they referred me to that bank. And I presented what I had to the woman, and she's like, I've been doing this 30 years, but, let's see what happens. So 2 part-time jobs. I gotta keep emphasizing that because this is not something that is normal. No one is letting you buy a house with part-time jobs, okay? So what I ended up doing was somehow I tied in one of my part-time jobs into how I was going to school before for this particular medical field or whatever. I wrote a letter. Bottom line, I wrote a letter, and I wrote that letter so damn good. I wrote the letter so well and made it seem as though those 2 part-time jobs, along with me going to school 2 years before that, made sense. Okay, I made it make sense somehow. God, that's all I'm gonna say. God, right? The angels was totally looking out for me. This woman says she's been doing this for 30 years. She's been a mortgage rep. She said that I got the fastest approval she had ever seen. Now, mind you, I had to put zero money down. The builder put $2,500 or $3,000, something like that, towards my closing costs, things like that. I came out of my pocket with $1,400 in total. $500 to hold the house, and I had to come up with $945 to pay for the additional closing costs. And I got a brand new house, all because I stepped out on faith, all because I believed what I felt in my spirit, and I went through this very quietly. People were on a need to know basis, because sometimes you'll tell people, if I would have expressed this to people, hey, I'm trying to buy a house right now. My credit score is 656. I still have a collection on there from T-Mobile, and on top of that, I had my student loans have went into default. But hey, I'm trying to buy a house. What do you think people would have told me? I'm bugging. You need to clean up your credit. You're going to have to get a full-time job. You're going to have to do this, and that. No, I kept it to myself, and I only told who needed to know. And I want to say that was probably one person. I barely told the landlord. I told her last minute. However, I was kind enough to find her another tenant because I was ending the lease early. But anyway, I say all of that to say it's time to really step out on faith and know that the universe, God, your angels, your ancestors are backing you. If it's something that's in your heart and your spirit and you feel it so strongly, go for it. I promise you, it will bless you. So I just wanted to share that. I randomly wanted to share that, I guess, testimony. And hopefully it inspires someone. Nevertheless, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.